Okay, hello everybody. Great to have you with us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where in the world you are joining us from. We are going to get things underway at 2 minutes past the hour, which gives us a few minutes to settle in. I've got plenty of people here I need to admit through the waiting room and approvals I need to grant to the note takers and that kind of thing. So I'll be busy doing that and we will start in just a couple of minutes. But thank you all very, very much for being with me today.
Progress.
Hi, and welcome to those who've just joined. We're going to get started at 2 minutes past the hour. In the meantime, if you want to let us know in the chat where in the world you are joining from, that's always fun to see how many countries are represented today. So you can use the chat, let us know how you're doing and where you are, and we'll begin very soon. Amazing stuff. We've got a really nice spread of people. Plenty of Aussies in the call today. G'day, guys. How you doing? Plenty from Israel. Shalom. A couple of Kiwis. Kia ora. Also got people from the Philippines, from the US. Very late or early over there. Good stuff for you for joining. Kenya, Hungary, the UK. It's a really nice spread across the globe. So welcome one and all. It's awesome to have you all with us. Okay, well, I make it actually 3 minutes past the hour already, which is high time that we get things underway today. So let me begin by welcoming you all to our AI Impact Studio. This is the most excited I've ever been, I think, for a training program, and I've done a lot of these. But we have a really exciting week of content all around AI. We kicked things off yesterday. We continue today and tomorrow. We have 7 different sessions to choose from all around nonprofits and how they can take advantage of these incredible new AI features, which are here to change the world. And it's our job and your job to make sure they change the world for good. Um, Today's session is the introduction to AI on Monday.com. So it's my aim today to give you a little snapshot of kind of all the AI features that Monday.com offers. Okay, and there are a lot of them. This may feel, I hope not, but may feel a little bit overwhelming. That's certainly not my aim. My aim is to give you a snapshot of all the different things that we have. And don't expect to master them all in one go, right? We're going to give you a couple of little bite-sized tastes of all the different AI features that we have, and that should allow you to dive into this stuff in a little bit more detail on your own. And we also do have, like I said, more in-depth sessions coming up on many of these topics, so we'll dive a bit deeper into specific AI products that Monday's offering. Some of these features, sorry, some of these sessions may not be at time zones that are convenient for you, but don't worry. All of our sessions are being recorded and we will be making recordings available. We'll be sending out follow-up emails with the recording links, and we're also going to build like a library with all of the recorded sessions afterwards. So you'll be able to access those once we're done here and share with colleagues and rewatch and, take advantage of these trainings when you're ready to kind of jump into each of these AI features in a bit more depth. So, with that being said, let me come and show you what I have on our agenda for today. So I will begin with a very quick introduction to what Monday.com and our nonprofit program can actually offer. Many of you will already be on the nonprofit program, which is amazing. We have currently 27,500 nonprofits on our nonprofit program, which is just amazing. But we also have many people in the call today who may be brand new to Monday, and I want to make sure that everybody understands how they can get started. Then I'll give you like a very quick kind of brief history of AI. I just want to sort of situate in the overall journey where we are today and what Monday.com offers as part of that kind of wider AI picture. Hopefully, helping anyone who's not familiar with what Monday's offering find themselves in where we are with AI. And then we'll kind of break it down into two different parts. The free AI, which is already available in Monday in the platform. And then we have AI products, which have a special discount for nonprofits. We're very excited to be able to announce that nonprofits get a 33% discount on AI credits now and off into the future. So all of this stuff is a lot more accessible and a lot more attainable for nonprofits than for anybody else, which is a really cool commitment that I'm very proud Monday has made. I've put at the bottom here questions, but we'll do our best to answer questions throughout the session. We'll try and pause a couple of times. But of course, with the large group size that we have today, it is also realistic that we probably won't get to every single question today. But please don't worry. I'll give you some more resources so you can find answers one way or another. And what we're also going to do is take all of the questions that are asked in all of our sessions, and we're going to use AI to build for you a nice kind of FAQ, a doc where we'll summarize all the questions and answer them, and we'll be publishing that at the end of the week. So don't worry, all your questions will be answered one way or another, even if not live with us today. Okay, so before I introduce Monday and our Monday nonprofit program, I'll just very, very quickly say hi. For those of you who haven't already met me, I am Alex. I am your nonprofit success manager. It's my job to help as many nonprofits as possible, including all of you, be successful using the platform. And there is nothing that can help you be successful on Monday better and bigger than AI. It's an absolute game changer, and some of the stuff you can do is just incredible. I'm really sure that these sessions are going to drive a lot of incredible impact. I've been doing this job for slightly over 4 years. I absolutely love it. And it's a real privilege to be able to, yeah, work with the superheroes of the world, nonprofits who are out there doing amazing things. And yeah, hopefully be able to allow them to do a few more amazing things as well as the cool work you're already doing. And a fun fact about me, which sounds unbelievable, but I promise is technically true. Back in 2009 in Pyongyang, I was crowned a champion at one of the athletic events at the North Korean May Day Games. People often think I'm making that one up, but I promise that is true. Stick around. Maybe the final session, if we have time, I can explain how that one came to be. Now, I'm also joined today by a couple of colleagues. We have several people in the chat helping us out today, which is just great. And we're also joined today by Mr. Omer Matz, who is the head of the AI Impact Studio. And I would love to allow Omer to introduce himself. And just need to make sure that Omer can do that and unmute himself. Can you say hi,
Do
Omer?
it. Hello, hello.
Amazing.
Morning, good evening, good afternoon. Great. My name is Omer. Nice to meet all of you. This is really exciting to see everyone from all over the world. This is the second session out of six to a very insightful week. So as Alex said, there's going to be a lot of information, but we packed it in a way where we can move gradually throughout the week. And what we encourage you to do is to experiment during the sessions, after the sessions. You also received some free credits last month, so use them. And basically, yeah, I forgot to introduce myself. So, hey, my name is Omer. I'm head of AI Impact Studio, a new initiative by Monday for Nonprofits. I come from a background of tech entrepreneurship. My last company was a music tech company where I helped artists monetize and build careers. So very familiar with trying to make moves with a lack of resources. And fun fact about my last startup was that I received a Slack message one morning from one of our team members in the US saying, "Look who signed up." And he sent me his email. And of course, I had no idea who he's talking about. So then I asked him who that guy is, and he said, "You don't know him? It's the manager, like the iconic manager of Billie Eilish and such." So yes, that's a fun fact about me. And now I'm here at Monday, helping out nonprofits to utilize AI and help them make the most of it. So nice to meet you all and really excited about the session.
Amazing. Thanks, Omar. Great to be working together on this.
Definitely.
Okay, amazing. So that's
Alex,
a little bit about us.
sorry
Now
to
let
interrupt.
Yeah, go
Sorry to
ahead.
interrupt. Just one last thing I forgot to mention. I am going to add here a
Mm,
resource section. I'm going to pin it. You should see it pinned in a second. So questions about pricing, questions about what happens to data, permissions and governance, how to make sure you're using how many AI credits you're using, um, nonprofits program if you want and you didn't register yet to the nonprofits program. So all the links are here in these messages. And of course, if you want to register to the sessions throughout the week, then there's also a link for that here. We'll be happy to have you all.
amazing. Thanks, Omar. So yeah, just to confirm that's in the chat, folks. You can get those links at any point. Omar's pinned them there, so you'll find them easily at any point. Excellent. So now that we've said a little bit about ourselves, I want to introduce the Monday.com nonprofit program. And like I said, many of you may already be on this program. So don't think that you need to apply again or something. No, it's just one application. But if there are any new folks here, I do want to take a minute at the very beginning to explain how you can join our nonprofit program. Because all the AI and training in the world is only going to get you so far if you can't even get in the door and join us. So really, I guess it's a two-step process. The first step is to open your Monday.com account. No matter who you are, you'll get a 2-week free trial when you open a Monday.com account. You can play with the features. And for most people, you then need to choose a paid plan, right? Pick out of the different tiers. There's half a dozen different tiers. And how much you're prepared to spend, that's how much you'll get. But for nonprofits, if you are registered as a nonprofit organization somewhere in the world and you meet the criteria listed on this page, monday.com/nonprofits/eligibility, you can apply to join us. The application process is very simple. It's a quick form that requires no more than a few minutes to fill out. And all we really ask you in that form is who you are, what your nonprofit is, and what monday.com account you're using. The checks take sometimes as little as a few hours, sometimes a day or two. And then if you are eligible, we'll move you onto the nonprofit program. And the nonprofit program by default will give you 10 seats for free on each of Monday's 4 core products. And it also comes with added bonuses. We also give you a 70% discount on buying any extra seats. If you want to upgrade to the very highest tier of all, which is Enterprise, you also get a 33% discount off that. I'll be honest though, something like 99% of our nonprofits are here. This is only one tier down from Enterprise. It's called Pro. And on the Pro tier, you get an unlimited number of boards that you can manage. So whether you're trying to manage tasks or projects or donors or volunteers or grants or events or whatever, all of that is unlimited on the Pro plan. And you also get a 33% discount off those AI credits, which is a game changer because it really means you can do so much more with the AI. So if you're not on the nonprofit program yet, definitely recommend you to give it a try and apply. Like I said, the whole process takes just a day or two, and there's really kind of no downside. You can use Monday absolutely for free. You and 9 colleagues, no credit card, no deposit, no tricks. You'll only pay for anything if you choose to pay for these extras, and they are going to be discounted as well. On this page, there are also some other resources and other support features that you might want to check out. And if anyone is already on the nonprofit program, you can tell those who are doubting what you think about it and how easy it was to apply. I'm pretty confident everyone will say it was a good process because that's the overwhelming feedback that we get. Excellent. So if anyone has any questions about, joining the nonprofit program, please feel free to let us know in the chat. But if we want to move on now to talk about AI, I do think it's helpful to kind of begin with a very quick little timeline here, just so everyone can kind of see where we are in the exciting AI journey. So I think for a lot of people, certainly for me, the first time that AI kind of came into our homes was mid 2010s. 2014 is when we see the release of things like Alexa, you know, the speaker that you can talk to, sort of smartphones, smart homes, Siri, and these kind of basic AIs that you can have conversations with, and they'll do basic tasks for you in the device with which they've been embedded. Obviously, there's plenty of AI steps before that to get here, but then I think is the first one that kind of puts AI into people's minds. But it was very, very basic, right? I think the next real milestone was the release of GPT-3. And I'm sure you all remember those early days, the excitement when you could really have more in-depth conversations about philosophy or troubleshoot, just about anything with these GPTs. Initially, it was released only via API in 2021, kind of got the developers excited, but the man on the street and the woman on the street didn't necessarily know what it was. But that all changed in November 2022 when it was released to the public and absolutely exploded. And that was when every podcast and every newspaper article was talking about ChatGPT and AI in general. And within just 2 months, by January 2023, they'd reached 100 million users, making it one of the fastest adopted pieces of software of all time. And I think it shows just the incredible appetite that we had for AI. Okay. And predictably enough, after that, there was this huge intensification of the model race. All these different competitors are launched, and people are trying to, outpace each other, which just sees incredible, incredible advancements in the space of just a few years. Thinking here of platforms like Claude and Gemini and all the various models. It feels like almost every month there's a new model being released. And we continued in that race for a couple of years until the next massive change, which was the appearance of agents. And I think agents really are that next big wow moment, as big as any of the steps that have come before us. And the difference between an agent and these LLMs or large language models is that the agents can act autonomously. Think of an agent almost like a junior staff member who you need to train and you need to give some guidelines to. But once you've done that, they really can roll on their own, right? They can make autonomous decisions. They can interact with, different platforms, and they can actually complete a lot more sophisticated tasks. And Monday's agents are pretty incredible, and we'll hear in just a few moments some of the cool things that Monday's agents can do. And then I've put here as the final step in this exciting AI journey when nonprofits got access on Monday.com, which was just this year. We rolled out full AI access at discounted rates to our Monday.com users, which is, of course, the most exciting step of all. This is what they're going to be talking about in the history books for years to come when nonprofits got AI access on Monday. So this is where we are, and we'll kind of pull in some of those different AI technological developments as we go through the session today. Great. So now we'll look at how this AI is actually used in Monday. And like I said, we'll start with the most basic stuff, the platform-wide AI enhancements, which sounds pretty grand, but basically it's the sort of AI magic that you'll find like dotted throughout the platform. I'm sure that anyone who is using Monday more regularly will have sort of stumbled upon these AI elements. They're sort of popping up all over the place now. These are kind of useful enough without being absolute game changers. They will help you get started. If anyone's opening a Monday.com account today, an AI wizard will talk you through the onboarding process. Hey, what are you here to manage? Oh, you want to manage donors? Cool. What kind of things are you managing with your donors? And it will build you a board for you to help you get started. The other thing these are great at doing is helping you do the traditional stuff you've always been doing in Monday more efficiently. Right? Building stuff quicker, translating stuff, cutting out the middleman and the extra work you need to do. It definitely helps a lot there, but they don't actually do work for you. Okay, it's sort of like improving the existing Monday experience without being an absolute game changer. The one thing which is very cool about these is that they are all free. Yay! Confetti. We all love free, but of course they're maybe a little bit less impactful and powerful. Nevertheless, I would love to spend a couple of minutes demonstrating some of these features now. So let me just get my screen back open. And sorry, just admit a few last people. By the way, welcome to anybody who's just joining us. We are just really getting started here today. Welcome to the session, everybody. Okay, let me just put this back into full screen mode and share my screen with you again. Excellent. So when you first get started at Monday, and I'm aware we have some brand new Monday users here, you want to start working on something in Monday, you click on this plus, and you can probably begin most likely with a board. That's kind of the main unit of currency in Monday. And right away, you will see the AI pop up here. You can have AI build something for you. So whatever you want to manage, I run a small nonprofit in the environmental space. We need a place to manage our grant applications. Okay. Now here you can choose whether or not you want to include example items. This will put in, made up grants. At this level, it's not going to be putting in real grants, although, spoiler alert, that is something we may be able to present later on today. But this will be useful just for us to see how it looks. And you'll notice that in that prompt that I gave, I wasn't using Monday language. Okay, that's the sort of way that someone who has no idea what Monday is would describe a challenge they've got at work and the thing they need to manage. Okay, they've got a lot of grants, a lot of moving parts, and they want someone to help them out. Here is what Monday can do. Okay, it'll build this board for us and using the elements that we know and love from Monday. And once it's been built, we can, of course, make changes. Here's what it's come up with. I'll just close this little pop-up on the side. Well, it looks like 4 groups, new applications, under review, approved, and rejected. I like it. Deadlines, some statuses, how much money it's asking for. Cool. Looks like a pretty classic grant management flow. And of course, we can come in here and immediately make changes to it if we want to. For example, approved and rejected being the same color. I don't know about that. I would, of course, probably recommend we change this to a red and this to a green. Right, that's the kind of classic traffic light system. So yeah, small changes are very easy to make. You can reorder columns and create new columns just like you always could. You'll notice that it's also added, for example, this column here, a priority column that's been automatically filled with AI. Okay, it's judging based off all the elements it sees here, the amount, the due date, how important, what the priority the AI thinks it is. But again, we can change it, override it if we believe it's more important. Another cool AI feature, which is built in here and is free, is available here in the 3 dots menu, where you have AI suggestions. And you can do this on any of your existing boards, and AI will kind of take a look at your board, inspect its structure, see if anything is maybe missing, and make some suggestions. So this is what it's suggesting. It's suggesting you can save some time by adding a review deadline priority. Predicts that we will save 5 hours a month. Okay, that's pretty valuable. And this is the items that it has kind of given us a little like summary, how it would assign its priority. So let's give that a try. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is between the review deadline priority and the priority, but it's a nice little suggestion. And then you can again play with it, see which you prefer, and keep whichever one you find the most useful. Now, you'll also see down below the option of adding Monday Sidekick. And we are going to talk a lot more about Sidekick later on. We also had a full dedicated session to Sidekick just a few hours ago. What was that? 12 hours ago. That session was recorded and you will be given a copy of that. So if you want to talk more Sidekick, stay tuned and look out for that recording. But Sidekick can do this in a lot more powerful way, only not completely for free like what we've seen here. So pros and cons of all these features. So this is what we began with, okay? A nice grant application board, but we can also get started with other elements as well. We don't have to start with a board. You can also start with a doc or you can start with a form. I really love forms. They're one of my favorite features in Monday and can be very, very useful. Here we may be collecting volunteer feedback, add a few numeric questions. We can also use AI to build this. And in this little pop-up menu on the left-hand side, we can actually talk back and forth with the AI to have it design it better. Okay, here we go. Da, 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 da. I could say, please remove the staff question. Right? You don't need to know how to do that in Monday even. You can just in real language tell it to do it, and boom, it's gone. That looks pretty good so far. I'm going to create this form as it is. And now we've got a volunteer feedback collection form. Just as before, we can still manually go in and make changes. I can edit this form so that it'll have, a logo or change the order of the colors and the questions. Whatever I want to do is still possible. But this just gives you a nice little, introduction, I think. Great. So that's it, I guess, in terms of like getting started. Um, Maybe what we can look at next is how you will, sorry, one more thing before I show you that slide, I apologize. One more thing I wanted to show you is back in this board, another really cool little bit of AI magic that's sprinkled in is the formula column. Now, formulas, I think, kind of put a lot of people off. Remember when I started at Monday a few years ago, formulas were like the big scary beast because you needed to know exactly how to build a formula and that kind of thing. What we could do is use a formula column here to forecast how much money we're likely to have next year. So here we can put in a likelihood of winning the grant. I can estimate how likely I think I'm going to be to win these grants, 80%, 70%, 60%, and so on. And then using a formula column, I can actually build a forecast in real language. So I could build it using the resources and pulling the exact format of each of these different formulas, but now I can just type in real language what I want to have happen. I want to create a forecast of my grant earnings. Use the requested dollars column and the likelihood of winning. Okay, it's not the best prompt. We'll see if AI can understand my garbled text. The requested amount times the likelihood of winning. That will not be the correct result because it's forgetting that we need to add the decimal point. Maybe if we just add here divided by 100, you can now see we requested $150,000, but I've given ourselves a 75% chance of winning. Let's add the percentage. And now it's calculating. Oh, okay, I see why it calculated it like that now. I can remove that. And now it's calculating how much it predicts we will earn from this. So this is a very simple forecast, which I didn't need to be a forecast expert or a formula expert to build. And to be honest, that was a very simple formula. The formula column is capable of building much more sophisticated things and doesn't require anyone to be able to, be an Excel wizard to do it, right? You can just do that in real text, which I really like. And everything we've seen so far is included, it's completely free, and you can use it as much as you want. The next features that I'll show you are AI blocks. These live within the platform and automations and columns and that kind of thing, and they will support you in doing the tasks you're already doing. So things like summarizing a column or structuring information differently, adding updates. This is the kind of thing that they can do. And these are paid, okay? But they're very heavily discounted for nonprofits. Like we said, they come at a 33% discount. They cost 8 credits per action, and any action you make on the same item within a 24 period will only be counted once. So if you're doing a lot of changes to one piece of information, you're not going to be paying every single time, which I really, really love. Let's see a couple of these AI blocks in action then. And get out of here. To do that, I thought we might return to the board that AI built us, right? This volunteer feedback form. Let's imagine that John Smith is filling out the form. He volunteered for 2 hours. He participated in the summer camp. Oh, sorry, this is the number of events. So put in here 3, scale of 1 to 10. He gave it a 10. And if I add here another question, let me show you the power of AI. This is all pretty easy to understand for an AI robot. It's, simple text. But if I was to write something a bit more complicated, how did you feel about the course? And then go back to filling it in. I can actually express myself as a human. Okay? You can express yourself here in real language. Once this form has been submitted, you can, of course, build a chart to understand the numbers, but the AI can actually interpret these more, lucid written pieces of text. How? Well, we can simply add a column. If you type in AI here, you'll see all of the AI-powered columns. These are the blocks that we talked about. For example, I can detect the sentiment of this person based on the fields that I choose to analyze. You can bring in all of these different columns if you want to. I'll probably pick just these two. I think they're the most relevant. And I can give additional instructions if necessary. I can say we need to give a special focus to anybody who mentions the cleanliness of the toilets because we have a special problem with the toilets. We want to make sure they're clean. Right, you can give it these nuances and you can explain where you want it to put the priority. Here we go. The AI has decided this is an overall positive experience. Despite my few reservations, I agree. It's an excellent summary. And you could actually have that summarized, very long, complicated forms or bits of feedback. You can give these more, sophisticated labels if you want to make it a bit more subtle and break it down further. Maybe I'll show you just one more of these AI blocks, but you can see there are tons here. A very, very convenient one is the translate feature. I'm sure that many of you are working with teams who speak different languages. Maybe you've got beneficiaries who are filling out forms in languages that you don't understand. You can, of course, copy this text, paste it into Google, bring it back, but that's time consuming and very inefficient. Instead, I'm going to ask it to translate everything from this course into, let's say, Spanish and save it. Now, it'll take just a second and it will give me this translated text automatically in this field here. And it can detect languages as well. So you can have people, for example, filling out a form in their native language, and then the AI will automatically translate it into the target language, in this case, English, so that people in your team can understand it. Okay, there we go. It took just a second. Fue un buen curso, me encantó, etc., etc. So these little AI blocks built into the system can be very, very handy. And like I said, all of those changes that I made here on this item, anything done within 24 hours, I'll only be charged once. Those 8 credits will cover me for that whole line item. Great. How would you understand how much you've spent from these credits so far? This is a question that we get asked a lot. So here is a snapshot of how my account looked yesterday. Okay, I came into the administration section and I've got this whole new section called AI governance. And this gives you full insight into everything that's going on in your account around AI. You can see exactly how many credits you've used out of the total that you have currently. You'll also see that there was a gift given of 6,000 credits to explore Monday AI. These credits will need to be used by July the 6th, as we've already mentioned. So it's the perfect time to play with some of these features now before these credits will expire. And you can easily buy more credits at any point with the 33% nonprofit discount. And once you've got these credits, you'll be able to track exactly who has spent them on which features. This gives you a really nice breakdown. You can understand, exactly which have been published, and you can set limits and all that kind of thing, all within this brand new AI governance portal. So you can actually understand where those credits are being used and start to plan things a little bit more in depth. So again, that was by clicking on the administration section in your account. Then you will now see the AI governance section, which has just been added to give you clarity into the AI stuff. Okay, how are we doing, folks? We're racing along to now talk a bit about Monday Note Taker. Now, you may have already noticed we have a few AI note takers in the session today. There are a lot of different AI note taking companies out there, but none of them have the advantage that Monday Note Taker has, which is that all the data stored from your meetings will be accessible inside Monday. So what it does is it analyzes what's going on in your account in your meetings and gives you a transcript and a video and puts that information into Monday. It can then generate actionable insights which you can convert into tasks in your Monday board. How does this work? Let's take a look. Let me get out of my slideshow and back into Monday itself. And I will show you an example of a call that I had yesterday. Here we go. I'll share my screen again. Over here on the left-hand side, you see these new AI products, and Note Taker is this one here. So here you can see all of the meetings that Note Taker has recorded. You can see the previous sessions that we've done in the Impact Studio. And here you can see the final AI webinar sync. This was a meeting that Omer and I had just before we went live. We just needed to discuss a few last minute things. Here you can see the full video. You can see it broken down by topics. You can see exactly where everything happened. And what really sets this apart is that it not only gives you a transcript, but it analyzes it, gives you the decisions and results, and turns them into action items. In this tab, you can see what we decided we were going to do. We decided that I would add the fun facts that we just presented to you earlier in the session to the slideshow. I can then, with one button, add this to my weekly task board. And it means that that kind of synchronization between your live meetings and your work on Monday is complete. And I think that these are the kind of connections that the AI suite in Monday allows you to achieve. You can bring your work to Monday and you can bring Monday to your work in a really seamless way, which is really cool. Okay, my last slide of the day. For the final part of the session, we're going to dive into three key products. These are really the kind of creme de la creme of what Monday is offering in terms of AI. Monday Sidekick, Monday Vibe, and Monday Agents. Everything we've seen so far is nice. Don't get me wrong, they can be very, very helpful. But these three products here are absolutely revolutionary. These are the real game changers, in my opinion. And Monday Sidekick is your chat bot, if you like, that you may be familiar with, your ChatGPT or your Claude or your Gemini, with the key difference that it lives within Monday. So with Monday Sidekick, not only do you not have to leave the window and go and talk somewhere else and come back or copy and paste text to other platforms, but it actually understands the context of what's going on in your work. It can make changes within your Monday. You can ask it questions about your work. You can ask it things like, which projects are at risk right now? And if you see any statuses which are pending that need to be updated, update them for me. Okay, it actually does the work for you. It really is an assistant living in your Monday. Monday Vibe is a vibe coding tool. Vibe coding basically allows you to build software and apps and websites without needing to be a developer, right? In the old days, you wanted to have a website, needed to find somebody, pay them a lot of money. They needed to learn how to code and then build you out your website over the course of weeks or probably more like months. Now, with vibe coding, in real language, you can just say, hey, I want to see a new website where I have a button on the left. It should be green. I want it to connect to my Monday board and display how much money we've raised. I want that to be updated every day. All of that can be done with real text. And of course, it can, again, integrate with what's going on in Monday. Pretty amazing. And then the last and probably most amazing of all are Monday agents. These are the autonomous uh, junior staff members who don't need to sleep, who don't need to eat, who don't take vacations, who can do work for you, all within Monday and understanding again the context of what's going on in your work. Now, each of these three products, we do have dedicated sessions on coming up in this week of AI training. Like I said already, Monday Psychic session was yesterday. You'll be sent a recording of that copy, a copy of that recording in the coming hours. Monday Agents is later today, and Monday Vibe is coming up tomorrow. So you're all welcome to register for these, or like I said, hang out for the recordings. There's more stuff coming soon on all of these. But we will also take a quick look at one use case of each of these in today's session as well. And maybe before I do that, I'll just check in with you, Omer, and see if we have any kind of really interesting questions or questions that maybe we could answer now before we do a quick demo of one use case of each of these AI products.
A couple people asked about note taker integrating with other note takers. So I'm not currently aware of a solution like that, but you can always keep an eye out on the different integrations every week. Even this week, I found out about new integrations. So just keep an eye out. I wouldn't like I wouldn't count on it, but
Mhm.
everything's possible.
I guess my question would be why use the other note taker and try and bring it into Monday when you can just rip off the Band-Aid and use Monday note taker entirely? But yeah, I understand there may be people who, for various reasons, need to.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's an interesting question. I'm also not aware.
totally agree. Um, yeah, should we move on to some cool agent use cases?
Okay, great. Yeah, let's start with an agent. If you want to take the lead on that one, Omer, you can kick us off with a cool agent. That would be great.
Amazing. All right, I will share my screen. Great. Everyone sees my screen?
I do. Perfect.
Perfect. So, Monday has agents that are super easy to start and to set up. Everything Monday does thinks about the user experience. So, this has really been a delightful experience, onboarding experience. The first time I met agents on Monday. So, let's start with where it's located. Basically, you can find on the side panel, you can see agents, and you can start an agent from here by adding simple text and telling it whatever it is you want to do. Let's say I'd like to build a volunteer matchmaking agent. Match volunteers with upcoming trainings. So again, the whole concept of simple language, natural language, and it starts building. You can also select which AI model you want. Monday connects with a few, with Anthropic, with Gemini, and also you can give it context, connecting a board. So very instantly, it created an agent called Cheryl, which we can onboard. And I won't do the full onboarding right now. I just wanted to show you how simple it is. You'll see in a second that it already has, from a simple prompt, instructions built in. And now it'll start kind of like understanding more about you and what it is you want to get. So I really encourage trying this out. This also doesn't cost credits uh, to build. And there's a caveat here. Once you activate an agent and it starts doing tasks for you, then it'll start to consume tokens. If you asked it during building the agents, during the onboarding and the building of the agent, if you tell it to build a board or execute a task as a test, it will also consume credits. Not a lot, depends on what you're doing. But I highly recommend just playing around with it, even without giving it tasks to execute. Now, a couple really cool ones that are my top favorites are Manny and Amanda. So Manny is our grant discovery agent. So this is an agent that looks for grants. I set up a trigger. I want it to work every day at 9 a.m. And I instructed it to look for five different grants every day and populate it in a designated board. So let's say good morning to Manny and see how he works. Um, cool. Now Manny is connected to a board called Grant Discovery that I pre-connected it. So you'll have to connect it or it will suggest. Another option is to create a board, which I highly recommend if you're starting off and want to test out agents. Then create a new board, simple board that doesn't inject information into an existing board. Test it out first, and then afterwards you can easily plug it to the board that you wanted to connect. So while Manny's working, I want to show you another cool use case of I have Amanda and also Teresa as well. I think I've created so many agents here, I forgot their names. I apologize. But what it does, this agent will extract grant information and break it down into subtasks with deadlines. So this is a board that actually the agent created for me with submission deadlines, grant amount, grant source, grant link, etc. And we set it up. I was corresponding with the agent and telling it that once I want the application status to change, only then start working. So we defined that when I change the status to gathering info, let's say you find a new grant, Manny finds the new grant, I want to upload the PDF. Um, Once I change it to gathering info, it will start working on extracting this information. And somebody also in the chat asked about Excel. So information can be extracted definitely from files. You can do it either through agents or through simply Sidekick if you wanted to do that as well, and also tell it which board you want to connect it to. And you can also create a column that does this specifically. So in the meantime, let's see if Manny has finished up. It can take a couple minutes. Again, it's doing deep web browsing, which we'll learn about how to connect tools, how to connect your Gmail, your calendar, anything that can be helpful for the agent. We'll talk about what skills are. Right now, my skill that I connected to Manny is Smart Web Search. So you have also a pre-configured skills by Monday, and you can easily create your own skill as well, which we'll talk about later today in our agents session. So we'll let it run a little bit. And because we don't have much time, I can show you examples of earlier tasks that this agent, the grant deadline extraction, has done. So once I clicked the status change, it broke down all of the deadlines, put here the dates. These are sub items to a specific grant and just gave me the full picture of what I need to submit and what until when I have to submit it. Great. Now, I will also say one last thing. We have a surprise for you guys coming up later today with the agents on the agent session. So this is the Monday Marketplace. You have an AI hub with a few agents that are already pre-configured, like a morning brief agent, a lead processor agent. These are, of course, for different industries, but we also made sure and prepared that there are a few agents that are customized for nonprofits for your use cases. So, for example, the grant lifecycle agent will wait for you here. The grant discovery agent, Manny, that we just saw, volunteer assignment agent, and donor enhancement agents will all be shared with you in today's sessions. So a lot to look forward to. Plus, we will also share these with you once they're open to the public, probably within the next couple weeks. So no worries if you can't make it as well. Okay, I see that the PDF extraction agent has been able to execute its task. And like you can see here, I just changed the status, and a couple minutes after, voila, we have all the dates, all the big deadlines that are here, broken down into sub items. Now, as with any employee, um, of course, an employee that's just starting off the role, I highly recommend, we always highly recommend to double check and take a look at the qualifications themselves. I'm sure that all of you will do that regardless of this recommendation. But you see that like just how much time this can save. Like this is a 25-page application. Uh, this agent specifically can also connect with links and analyze the deadlines from there. So it really is a matter of time saving. While it did that, I could do other things, show you other agents, talk about the sessions later on. So I highly recommend you test these out. Um, and yeah, those are, I think, the two agents that I wanted to show. I will check on Manny one last time before we finalize. I see it's still thinking and executing the task. So yeah, let's leave it at that. And I will just say again that the best way to learn how to use these agents is to simply play around with them. Here, look for it on your dashboard and just start having fun with it. Yeah, passing it back to you, Alex.
Yeah, oh man, it's so exciting. These agents are mind-blowing, you know what they can do. Actually, one interesting question came right at the end there.
Mhm.
Like what's the difference between an agent and Sidekick? And I think the key difference here is that Sidekick is great for kind of one-off specific tasks. I'll show you an example of a Sidekick task now, whereas what agents can do is be working continuously, right? These agents that Omer has just showed you, they can be searching for grants every week, every day, however often you want them to. They can be kind of working in a more ongoing way. They can be trained and they can kind of learn and continue to work. Whereas Sidekick is more like, I need a task done, I'll go and ask it to do it, and it will complete it. So there is some overlap, and you're right that there's a lot of times when both agents and Sidekick could achieve the same thing. But I think it's that kind of more long-term autonomy that agents give you that Sidekick maybe doesn't. But yeah, a nice example I can give for Sidekick. Here I have three projects, okay? An annual fundraising gala, a community health initiative, and a digital literacy program. Now, you may be able to guess that actually all three of these were built with Sidekick. But what I can now do is use Sidekick to analyze these projects. So I can say, um, analyze my fundraising gala, community health initiative, and digital literacy program. What issues do you foresee there, and what action items do you propose to ensure they are successful? Okay, what Sidekick is able to do here is look at a lot of data. Okay, I mean, these are three fairly simple project management boards, but in your real work, you may first of all have many, many more of these. I've just got three. You may have dozens and dozens, and there may be lots and lots of moving parts. Something that would take even an experienced project manager, hours and hours to analyze and really understand the nitty-gritty of the project. Sidekick can do very quickly. It can understand within the context of your organization what your priorities are. It can look at these three boards and see the full picture much more quickly. And based off key factors like the task statuses or how close we are to deadlines, it will be able to predict what risk it sees here. So it's pretty unique, I think. And as well as doing that analysis, it can then also suggest actions to take and even take these actions for you, right? Maybe it's going to tell me project A is at risk because we haven't heard from the project manager in 2 weeks. Okay, I could then ask Sidekick to draft an email for me, which I could then have Sidekick send for me, right? It can actually do the work for us as well as making these analyses and understanding what's going on. So it's pretty powerful. And just again to repeat, I think what Sidekick does that is unique to unique versus any of these other ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini models is that it's living right here. It's understanding what's going on. It knows what a task is in Monday. It knows what a status it is. It knows what an update is, and you don't need to be telling these other models what they are and copying and pasting data in. While that's loading, what I can do is also show you an example. Oh, here we go. Right on time. Here is a full risk and action assessment across all three programs. Okay, here are the programs. It's to analyze the items. Here are the overdue tasks, which are at risk and which are, okay, critical risk at all three projects, okay? The single biggest systematic issue, not one task across any of your three programs has an assigned owner. Oh my goodness, that's not good. Look, they're all unassigned. That's a pretty classic, classic flaw. So it's suggesting a nice fix there. Here it's going down and breaking it down into issues. Each project, giving me specific action items for each one. Like, especially if you were coming into a project that had been kicked off before you joined, this would be an absolute game changer. Maybe you're replacing someone who's on holiday or on maternity leave or moved to a new organization. You can come in here, have Sidekick kind of do that initial analysis for you, and then having guided you towards the most important tasks, you can use your more, human skills to resolve some of these issues. But that took us what? 5 minutes, not even. While I was talking, it was able to give this huge summary of all these projects, and it's suggesting future steps. Would you like me to assign these owners? I can then tell it to pick the most experienced staff members and assign them automatically. And it can do that work within Monday for me, which is very cool. Great. So that was just one little use case I wanted to demonstrate of Sidekick. But yeah, it can build, it can analyze, it can research, and it can pull all those different elements in together. And then the third and final app that we'll talk about today, over on the left-hand side here, is Monday Vibe. And one nice example that I've built, which I can demonstrate for you today, is my volunteer portal. So this is a portal which I built in the space of a couple of conversations here. You can see on the left-hand side what I discussed with Vibe to build this. And this is a public-facing page where the volunteers can see which courses are available. Okay, I'm running an organization that teaches science to kids after school and in the weekends, and this is where they can choose which courses they want to join. And I told it, I want to see a row of pictures with kids learning science. I want there to be a portal where they can search, they can filter, where they can then eventually register for each course. And I can define exactly how this looks, not by dragging and dropping, not by learning HTML or some other coding language. Instead, I can simply do it in real language. Instead, I want to see an image of high school. I can tell it that, and it will build it. And this information, what's really exciting, is live. This is being pulled from a Monday board. And anything that changes in the Monday board can be told to change here as well. So that if you're making a last minute addition to the Biology for Teens course, and it's not going to end on the 30th of September anymore, I need to just change it once in my board, and it will appear here as well. The Monday Vibe use cases are almost endless. And there's plenty of examples we have at Monday of companies that were paying sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars for dedicated, specialized systems that's been replaced by a couple of $100 on a Vibe app, which is pretty amazing. The Vibe session we have coming up tomorrow is going to demonstrate, I think it's 10 different use cases to get you inspired and excited about what's possible. So if this is not exactly what you're trying to build for you and your organization, join us in tomorrow's Vibe or watch the recording of the Vibe session, and you'll be able to see what is possible with just a couple of very simple plain text prompts. Okay, my friends, we are 1 minute before our end time. And in that last minute, I want to just give you a couple more resources so that you're fully empowered to go and, as Omar said, play with some of these things on your own. You may still have questions about how all this works. In fact, I would be surprised if you didn't. There is a lot of information to take in here. The best place to find answers is in our help center. You can click on a little question mark icon here in the top right, and you will find dozens of resources about this stuff. Whether you like to read articles, some of the articles, by the way, have been posted in the chat already, whether you prefer to watch videos, or my favorite, the contact support button. Okay, this is also a AI powered tool. There's one question that I didn't know the answer to that I just asked, and here is the answer. You can ask questions about the governance, about the AI policies of Monday, about the pricing, about your account, about the platform itself. And Tim, the AI Llama, does an excellent job of answering almost every question. If he can't answer your question, you can always escalate to a human. At any point, I can say, escalate. I want to speak to somebody 24/7, day or night, any day of the week. You can speak to a human, and even if you can't spell escalate, escalate. And there is someone here to help you out. So I want to make sure that you are comfortable to play around with this stuff and don't feel like you're being abandoned here. We're here to hold your hand through the journey. If you have any doubts, this is a great place to find answers to those. I know sometimes I have a question about AI, so I'm going to ask the AI. If you need to, bring it up to a human, you can always do that as well. So, as well as those extra courses that we're offering, it would be great to see you on some of those. We also have all these other resources here, always available and accessible to you and your nonprofit. So I will finish things up by saying very much everybody for joining. It was a really great session with lots of really cool engaged questions. So thank you all very much for that. I really hope that this session has been inspiring. I hope that you're ready now to play around with some of this stuff, to try an agent, to use some of those free credits before they expire and get your hands dirty. That's the best way to learn. And maybe we'll see you on a future session. I'll pass the mic for the last words of today back to Omer. From me, though, it's been great working with you today, and maybe I'll see you again on future sessions. Omer, you can close us out today.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Nothing to add here. Some great questions that we're trying to answer everything. So again, the FAQs will be sent along with recordings. And I know I said this like 5 times today, but we encourage you to join us throughout the rest of the week because these questions might also be answered through the sessions, and we might also have more time for Q&A. So feel free to join us, and it really has been great. Really interesting session. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.